welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well this weekend. So I've been to an orchid show this morning. It was the combined West Brisbane and Queensland Paphiopedilum Society orchid show, and I got there nice and early with a friend, and I think I got some pretty good buys. So have you got a coffee with you? Grab a coffee and we'll have a little walk around and go through some of these orchids. So my partner's out of town this weekend. He's down in Sydney for a football game. I'm sure he would have much rather come to an orchid show with me, but anyway, he's gone to an AFL game because his team Sydney is playing. And I suppose because he's not around, that means my 3-month ban on buying new orchids was lifted for this weekend. So yes, perhaps I got a little bit carried away, but never mind. Let's have a look. First, we've got this soft cane Dendrobium. And in retrospect, perhaps it would have been wiser to buy one with an open flower, but never mind. Sometimes a surprise is nice. So we've got a tag down here, but it looks pretty. No, that's not coming out. So what can we see? It's Dendrobium red fairy crossed with something, crossed with Dendrobium Romeo something. So it appears we are none the wiser, and it's still going to be a surprise. Okay, so we've got some new growths that look pretty healthy there. We've got some quite sizable canes, which the largest one's maybe nearly 2 foot tall. And we've got a couple of new spikes there emerging. There are blooms on this second cane as well. So it should be quite pretty. It looks like they're going to be pink or purple blooms. So of course, because it was a combined Paphiopedilum Society orchid show, I had to get just a couple more paphs. Don't judge me, guys, I couldn't help it. And they look so pretty. But this is Paph Cherry Glace times fairreanum. And it's a single growth, but very healthy looking. I just absolutely love this foliage. So pretty. And here we've got Paph callosum times Paph roebelinii. I'll show you there. There we go. And it's got 2 very healthy looking growths. So I think they'll both do pretty well. All my mottled leaf ones are doing really quite well. Next we've got a little besseae hybrid, a little baby frag. I've got 2 other frags, and although I haven't seen blooms on them, they are both growing super steadily. This one is Frag boissierianum times Frag besseae crossed with Scarlet O'Hara, and just a baby that looks very healthy. So I've got an Odontocidium next. This is Odontocidium Wildcat, so also known as Colmanara Wildcat. I do have another Colmanara, but it is the variety Bloodshot, and it looks different to this. So the Bloodshot actually has more of that dark red colour there, and it pretty much covers the entire flower, whereas this one's got a lot more yellow in it. It's like a yellow with some stripy, spotty bits on it. Very, very pretty, I think. And it's got this other spike that's not yet bloomed, so I'm going to enjoy flowers on this one for a little while to come. But again, a very healthy looking plant there. Nice plump pseudobulbs. A good number of bulbs there, and very well established in that pot. Last one's still opening. Very pretty. Okay, next I'll show you this guy that is falling out of its pot. Look at that. Oh dear. Oh wow. Did not feel like repotting today, but looks like I don't have a choice. Alright, how am I going to do this? Oh, I can't let those flowers fall. Hang on. Alright, let me show you these flowers first before I break something. Look at the size of this bloom. That's my hand there, so the size of my hand. Massive diameter on this flower, I'd say at least 15 centimeters. Beautiful. Look at the patterning in the throat there. So nice. But you know, I don't actually have a huge number of these big, how would you call them? Like fluffy floral Cattleyas. But a lot of them have an amazing fragrance, and this one is no exception. It smells amazing. It smells like this sweet citrus, like tropical floral smell, and I can smell it from here. I can tell you it smells really, really nice. And when I was driving home, it just filled my entire car. It was a really pleasant drive back home. Healthy looking plant, but falling out of its pot, and I must say I am not looking forward to replanting this at all. That media is so old, but what I might do, because I don't want to traumatize the plant too much, I do want to enjoy these blooms actually, so I might just secure the plant back in this pot and fill some media around it for the time being. And then once the blooms fall from this guy, I'll probably repot him properly. Next we've got this beauty. And I haven't been able to stop staring at this flower since I got it. Look at her. Isn't she stunning? That yellow is vivid. It is beautiful. And that lip. Oh my goodness. That spotting is just so cute. I'll show you a little profile of it. It's like a little trumpet. Almost looks like a daffodil, doesn't it? Very cute. So this guy is RBY Copper Queen. RBY. Rhynchobrassoleya. It's definitely got some Brassivola in it. We're just gonna have to look that one up, guys. But yeah, my bet is probably Rhynchobrassoleya crossed with a Brassivola. Maybe. Who knows? It's all a bit of a guessing game to me. But yeah, you can definitely see the Brassivola in it. That spotted lip comes from there, I believe. And it's got a very faint floral scent at the moment, but the Brassivolas do exhibit their fragrances at night, apparently. So I might just come out here in the evening and have a smell and let you guys know if there's a nice scent to it in the evening. But the rest of the plant looks nice. It's got just a single direction of growth, but it's got quite a few established bulbs on there, so I don't know, I've seen people just put a little bit of a cut in like one of the rhizomes in the middle, and that sort of helps the plant to establish maybe a second direction of growth. So maybe this guy's a good candidate for that. But anyway, for now, I'm going to enjoy these flowers because it is one of my favorites so far. So stunning. I don't know, tell me what you guys think, but I am in love, I think. So next we've got a little Australian native here. It's a kingianum, Dendrobium kingianum Dolly times Roy. And you can see it's a very small plant. Still young, I think, but no bigger than the size of my coffee cup there. And the flowers are teeny tiny, so about the size of my thumbnail there. Typical little kingianum type flower, but it is even smaller than my other kingianum with the white flowers. So smaller blooms, but I actually got this because it was the darkest pink, and you can see it's almost purple, but it was the most vividly coloured one there, and I just couldn't resist. It's got some unopened buds there, it's got this bloom spike still forming, and it smells very fragrant. It's the same as my other kingianum. It's a jasmine honey smell, and it's quite a, I'd describe it as a sharp sort of smell, like a fragrance. I find it really, really pleasant, but yeah, it's fairly strong. So kingianums need a little bit of a dry winter rest to bloom, which is very typical of our Australian conditions. It's quite a common orchid down the east coast of Australia, and I think it's also called the, the pink rock orchid. So it's obviously found quite commonly on cliff faces and those rocky surfaces, but so we'll just go in for one more little look of this flower before we move on. But you can see these lateral sepals are just fused down the bottom there, and the lateral petals, these petals here, they're just they're very small, and they sort of make the shape of a cup. Okay guys, and I know you've all been waiting for this one, or I've just been waiting to tell you about it, because this is my new Dendrobium speciosum. And I've been putting off buying one of these for quite a while. They're really, really expensive on eBay, like really expensive. But I saw, as I was walking into the orchid show today, about 3 people walking out with one of these, and I just thought, oh, I just feel like now's the time to go in and get one. But the reason I haven't really delved into them is because look how big they are. Let me just show you, because that's my hand, and that's the size of a cane, and that's not, canes can get bigger than this. And I'll be honest, this was one of the smaller plants that were there. There were some very sizable plants. And there was one that I wanted with slightly darker yellow flowers, but it was a huge plant, and it was about $100, and I just couldn't quite justify it because I'd bought so many other orchids. But yeah, I think I did okay. This one was $60, which of course isn't cheap by any means either, but well-established plant and looks very healthy. So let's zoom in on these flowers a little bit, but it's a very common orchid in Australia. It's also called the Sydney rock orchid, and it's got this very typical star-shaped flower. So, having told you that this was one of the smaller plants that were available, you can imagine what the specimen plants look like. They are a sight to be seen. They are absolutely massive, and their bloom spikes just extend out to the sides and cascade down, and they look like big bushy foxtails, and they're just really spectacular. The flowers have a fragrance. It's slightly like the kingianum in that it's got a little bit of a honey scent to it, but it's not as sharp. It's not really in your face. It's got almost like a minty, cool undertone to it, and it's quite subtle. Having said that though, I'm smelling it from where I'm standing, like it's just sort of wafting over to me with the breeze, and it's really quite pleasant. I really like it. In terms of care for this orchid, speciosums are also known as Sydney rock orchids, and so I presume they would do quite well in outdoor Sydney conditions, and I can imagine them like on a rock face, exposed to full sunlight, exposed to the elements out there. And I know my auntie has one and she just keeps it out in her garden in Brisbane, and it blooms for her every year. You know, she keeps it out there year round, summer, winter, no shade, and it does very well for her. So Sydney conditions are quite similar to Brisbane conditions, but it probably gets slightly colder down there. Probably ranges from about 2 degrees Celsius up to maybe 38 degrees Celsius. So very wide temperature range, and I would bet a big orchid like this would tolerate those extremes quite easily. And I would also think that it would tolerate extremes in moisture quite well. So the Aussie natives tend to be very drought tolerant, but also love spring and summer rain and a lot of moisture during that growing period. So I will do some reading and let you know, but that would be my bet. So you can see though how solid this plant is, and it's pushing up against the edge of that pot. So I'm thinking that I'm going to need to repot this after these blooms fall off, which is going to be quite the task, because I'll tell you, I can barely lift that up with one hand. It's pretty heavy. I'm pretty chuffed with this one. I'm actually pretty happy with all my purchases today. All the blooms on these plants are just stunning. I really love them all. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel and you'll get notifications when I bring out new videos. And yeah, hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.